Hey, everybody. Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we get to meet and learn from our CFE coaches. And we also get to learn about some of our CrossFitters here at CFE. But also, one of the great things we do is we get to meet and learn from some of our locally owned Glen Ed business owners and some of the characters behind them. And that's what we get to do today. I'm your co-host, Dallas Amston, and I am the founder of the Men of Faith and Fire movement, host of the podcast of the exact same name, actually. And today I get the opportunity to interview, myself along with our co-host, G-Skel here. We get the opportunity to interview one of our local owners, and we are super excited about that. Real fast here, everybody, you already know this, but if you want to find out more information from us, be sure to go to our website, CrossFitEdwardsville.com. But here he is, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the owner of CFE CrossFit Edwardsville and my co-host for today's podcast, G-Skel. How the heck are you, brother?
I'm good, man. Thanks for the intro. I'm Greg Skelly. I go by Coach G-Skel most of the time. I'm the co-host, CEO, GM at CrossFit Edwardsville. I am excited today, at last, after so much back and forth, trying to make this happen. We finally get to interview one of the local Glen Ed community business owners, Michelle Motley, the woman behind the local favorite, Source Juicery. Michelle, welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me today, you guys.
Hey, we're excited. Michelle, you tell us a little bit about your background, or shall we save that for a moment here?
Oh, I can tell you a little bit about myself real quick. I am co-owner at Source Juicery. I own it with Chrissy Stevens. We are coming up on our 5th anniversary, which is just so hard to believe. It seems.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's flown by. So we're coming up on that on March 1st. We've been in downtown Edwardsville for the last 5 years. We're very fortunate. We love the community and everything that we do there.
Hey, that's awesome. And for some context, I had a chance to, I first crossed paths with the Motley family when Mark Motley and Lila Motley actually came and were CrossFitters here at CFE once upon a time. So that's kind of how we crossed paths once upon a time. But even then, me, Caroline, we've been big fans. My wife, Caroline, we've been big fans of Source Juicery since you guys arrived on the scene. And I want to give you guys a great big thank you because we were downtown in Edwardsville for the trick-or-treating back in October. And it was the upbeat drink that helped me to mitigate some of my candy binge that was happening during that. So many thanks to you for that. Today on the podcast, we're going to have a conversation with Michelle about the origin and the evolution of Source Juicery and get to know Michelle a little bit better as a business owner and a person. So for anybody who may not already know, Michelle, what is Source Juicery?
Source Juicery. So we are a juice and smoothie and healthy food shop down, as I mentioned already, on Main Street. We kind of started wanting to have a healthy spot that you can go and get something super fast. I had some health issues for several years, and diet was the thing that really was able to get me my energy back and feeling more normal. I have 4 kids and a busy lifestyle, and it's hard to eat healthy whenever you want that active lifestyle. I know now we're all at home and have more time to do food prep and to sit around and cook, but prior to COVID and, there being other healthy options, there just weren't a lot of places to go. So I've always been interested in starting a business, and the time just kind of worked out to start the juice shop. I have been juicing at home for, I'd say, the last 15 years. I've always enjoyed fresh juice in my kitchen. And I don't know, have you guys juiced it at home before ever?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
This guy, for sure. Yep.
Right. So you guys know it definitely is a process. You buy all the produce, you wash it all, you shoot it through your juicer, and then you spend a half hour cleaning up afterwards.
True facts. True facts.
Juice.
Yeah.
So I definitely knew that juice was where I wanted to go with it. And Chrissy and I have known each other for years. Our husbands actually grew up. They both have family businesses in town. So, our youngest sons match up in age. So we got together. Chrissy is a chef and is just so talented at putting flavors together. So we got together and started up Source.
Cool. I want to go back in time a little bit to the start, Michelle. Is this your first entrepreneurial venture, or did you have businesses before Source?
So it's my first. I had been home with my kids for 17 years before I started the business. So, I did get a business degree. I've always been interested in business, but never really had a lot of experience. So definitely just dove right into what it would be to start a restaurant. It's interesting though, like, as someone who goes to a lot of restaurants, because we do enjoy eating out. Whenever we travel, we like exploring, looking through Yelp reviews and finding the great local hot spot, or talking to local people to find the great spot. I never knew what the behind the scenes were like in a restaurant. So it's been a big learning experience for me.
Did Chrissy have that background in, I guess, like restaurant, entrepreneurial, like leadership, that sort of thing?
She definitely has the restaurant experience. So she was working at Cleveland Heath at the time that we went into business together, and doing, as you guys know, Cleveland Heath is a real busy restaurant here on Main Street. Yeah. So she had a lot of, and she's been a trained chef for 20 years. So she's had definitely restaurant experience. I managed more the business side of it and getting things going. So I had a lot of learning experiences. We opened the shop. At the time, we had 3 owners involved. We opened the shop with no employees, thinking, we'll just make a couple juices and a couple smoothies, and then I'll go pick my kids up from school, right? Like, that's
right.
kind of where I was at with all of it. And, of course, first day, sold out of everything, had to pick the kids up, drive to Sam's Club, restock the refrigerator, I don't know if I mentioned this already. I do have 4 kids at the time. Currently they are, 13, 17, 20, and 22. So, they were all a little bit younger whenever we started the shop, but they've all been a big help along the way.
I got it. So it sounds like for you, like you were learning as you were going along, because Source was really like your first time down this path, and you picked a hell of a place to start. Like, restaurant that's a tough nut to crack, isn't it?
Well, I guess you know more than I knew whenever I started it. Yeah, no, the food industry definitely is. There's no time off, there's no stop, there's no downtime. But I enjoy that part of it also.
Sure. Absolutely. So what is the mission of Source Juicery? Like, is there a core mission or a vision statement? Like, what is that part of Source, since you're the business side of things?
Yeah. So, our mission was just to provide healthy to-go options in Edwardsville. And, we kind of have our little tagline is happy, healthy, whole. We're both moms. Between us, we have 7 kids. And, even though neither one of us had a ton of experience as far as, Chrissy has had restaurant experience and chef experience. She has that down, but neither one of us had experience owning a business and being, as busy as we've turned out to be. But that warm, happy environment that's welcoming is something that we've always really cared a lot about. So happy, healthy, whole is, whenever we go to make changes or do things, we carry those words with us whenever we go to do things in a way that kind of keeps us on path. Sure.
Well, I think that you could have picked a better community to start this sort of thing, because I do really feel like our Glen Ed area is particularly health conscious. We have all the bike trails, and then I feel like our grocery stores are they offer more of the really healthier options for things, that you're gluten-free this, you're soy-free that, or whatever, right? So I feel like this area is fantastic for what you guys do. I know that a lot of our clients are big fans of yours. So
local gym owners from the beginning, you guys especially, and you speak to the community. This community is just incredible. The way business owners lift up other business owners. I'm proud to be a part of it, and it definitely is a rewarding aspect of it. And I know we enjoy going out to the gyms whenever we are able to get face-to-face back, and look forward to doing that again. So it's been good.
Sure. So as we look back, right, like how has Source Juicery evolved since it started? Like I to put it another way, like what's different now compared to when you started?
Well, so we started with those, 3 owners and didn't have any employees, and, quickly learned that we were going to need a good staff behind us. So we now have probably about 17 or 18 people. That has been, the team that we have put together has been great. And we started in a smaller shop on Main Street and had a smaller space. Our working kitchen was much tighter. We just weren't able to produce as much. And I was just telling the story the other day. As soon as word got that Lori's place was going to sell, I was like, oh man, whoever gets in there, they're so lucky. Rumor on the street was the place was already leased, and, someone else was going in there, and it was just going to be exciting to have another restaurant. Well, I was looking for a couple parking spots, so I had my husband track down the cell phone number of the guy that owned the shop then. And I called up his cell phone and said, can I have a couple of those parking spots? And he said, well, I don't know who's going to lease it. And I immediately said, wait, I don't know who's going to lease it. I'll take it. Like, I don't know anything, but I'll take it. It's, so we rebuilt out that Lori's Place space, and we were able to move down and have, a bigger kitchen, which really opened the doors for us to expand our menu and get that great big staff in there. And mainly the menu expansions have come out of that location. So it's been, it definitely felt like home as soon as we moved in there, and, we're happy to be there.
Absolutely. And for anybody who isn't already knowledgeable on this topic, Source Juicery is in downtown Edwardsville, neighbors with Cleveland Heath, neighbors with, I think, Gory Julian is out there, Sacred Grounds Cafe is out there. It's like right in the thick of things. Like you're in like the hotspot of activity for Edwardsville.
Yeah, we love it. The farmers market is down there. If you guys haven't been out to the farmers market yet, definitely the place to go. I think it runs maybe May through October on Saturdays. Local farmers come out. So we're walking distance from the farmers market, and we get a lot of the SIU students come our direction too, which is really nice and great to see. We love that.
Sure, because you're pretty close to the university. So how have things evolved since the pandemic hit for you as a local, essentially restaurant owner? Like the challenges for restaurant owners have been like really front and center in all of the news ever since the pandemic hit. And I'd be fascinated to actually hear from an actual restaurant owner, like how are you reacting to all of this, and how are you guys adapting? Like what's different now given that we're in pandemic and COVID world?
Well, gosh, so much. And I will say, I definitely have a lot to say on the topic and have learned a lot from it. But as a small business owner, you don't have the backing and the knowledge of, different departments to go with it. You don't have IT people to help you with a website. You don't have, so I felt for every business owner, and I'm sure as a gym owner, you felt this also, Greg. It's like, you don't have anybody to turn to. You've got all these problems to figure out on your own, and you just have to figure it out. So, I felt fortunate. Our online store was something that I've been big about since we've opened. So we did have an online store that we just sold cleanses on. I don't think we sold anything else on it. I was able to turn that and get our website up to the online ordering platform. We did shut down I had 2 kids away at college at the time, so I was kind of keeping my eyes on things and kind of saw it coming, so it didn't really blindside me as far as the state closings go. So during the time that the state closed us down completely, we were able to redo our website and get online ordering a priority. We were purchased a front refrigerator to go in our front of the shop. So if you are an online orderer, you can walk right into that refrigerator and pull your order out. There's no interaction that you have to do between staff or anyone if you wanted to come in and not have any interaction. So, but the pressure definitely in the beginning, and I feel for restaurant owners that didn't have the to-go model set up, because if you were, primarily dining in, you had even more pivots and changes to make to be able to make things work out. So we were fortunate that we are, we're set up to be a to-go. As you heard, it's part of our mission to provide that to-go fast and easy. So, we changed some of the way that we present our products. We, changed our packaging, but every week there's something that, you need.
Amen to that.
Right?
Yeah.
The first thing was like the Clorox wipes. So you're like, okay, well, it's not a huge deal, but it's kind of a big deal,
Right.
You do need to sanitize everything. But yeah, every week brings up another challenge, but you also, I don't know, as a business owner, if you have learned, I definitely have learned there's a lot that I got caught up on before that was like really not a big deal. It's like,
Sure.
There's a lot that you can live with and deal with. You can deal with a lot more than you think you can. So
yeah, it's kind of forced adaptability in a way. And one of our CrossFit things is we take pride in always being ready for the unknown and the unknowable. It just ended up being that we had to practice that adaptability and that flexibility and that ability to pivot in ways that we never saw coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, this has been like nothing else. And I know the restaurant industry and the fitness industry, everything has just really changed. I do think, I've tried to take it as a little bit of space to grow and be better. And in the end, having our online store completed and done, was probably something we wouldn't be sitting here today with if we wouldn't have had the pressure of getting it completed for the pandemic. So
for you guys, that wouldn't really be your online store wouldn't be as complete, as fleshed out, as ready now if it weren't for the pandemic kind of forcing your hand a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, no, it is definitely made us, and I try to look at that on a personal level and on a business owner level. There are ways that, there's some growth that's been done that just wouldn't have happened if this year wouldn't have happened. So
sure. For us, this podcast was one of the COVID babies for CrossFit Edwardsville. We got forced into becoming a media company overnight, whether we wanted to or not. So I want to hang out at this point for just a little bit longer. The online store, can you educate me about that? Because I'm not necessarily sure that I know what you mean by that. What I know about Source Juicery is when I'm downtown and I want to have something that's healthy, delicious, fast, and super easy, I go there to get an upgrade or one of the greens drinks, right? But I think you're talking about something different. What do you mean by the online store? What is that in Source?
So basically at Source, we serve cold pressed juices, smoothies, bowls, which is our biggest. They're thicker than a smoothie and they have granola and fresh fruit on top. You eat them with a spoon. There they are right there on the screen. And then we have our to-go salads and some snack options. So basically we put this all on our website. So if you are a customer that's coming into downtown Edwardsville to pick up your order, you can hop on, and I think it requires 15 minutes for prep time for the staff to get your order ready to go. But you can hop on, select every item that you want, create the time window that you want to pick it up in. So, my husband, Mark, ordered it for work people this morning. So he placed his order last night. So there was a ticket sitting there in the morning when the staff came in and had the time that he needed his order ready by. So basically you can get your order ordered and paid for online. So then whenever you show up at your pickup time, it's in our front pickup refrigerator, ready to go with your name on it. All you need to do is pop in and grab it and go. So, in the beginning with the pandemic, it was the only way you could order. So a lot of our customers got used to it. Now, of course, we can do walk-in customers, but still, I'd say over half of our customers still like the use of the online store. Just for quick checkout, they don't have to wait in the shop whenever they get in to get it. So, as you guys know, this time of year, like with the health resolutions, we have a lot of people that are doing juice cleanses or picking up healthy food in bulk. So that's an easy way for them to place their order.
Got it. So I'm glad you told me about it, because I wasn't actually really knowledgeable that this option was even available. So good to know, and good for our CrossFitters here at CFE to know as well. And now getting to know Michelle, the person behind all of behind Source Juice a little bit better, I want to ask you about past failures. Are there any past failures or apparent failures that you felt really set you up for success? Everybody asks about, like, hey, what's great? What victories you had? Sometimes the best stories come out of finding out what is a favorite failure that a fellow business owner had. So Michelle, what is your favorite failure?
Well, I am definitely a big, I don't mean this like in a down on myself way, but I definitely am big into failing. Like, I do it. I try it every day. And, there's not a day that I don't try something. In fact, if you work with me, you're definitely annoyed because I need to try that failure out. I need to see it happen right in front of me. I need to know that option's not going to work. So the little failures to me are just how I learn. And some of those, maybe we'll come up with an example here as we're talking, but some of those things that I think are going to be big fails end up being, what, is the easiest thing to get us through. So I am big into failing. I picture it as, what you need to do to learn and to gather information. So I've never really been afraid of failure going into the business. I knew, whenever you go to take that step of starting a business, it's a risk, right? You're putting yourself out there and you're, putting your time and your effort and your work and your money into it.
Yes.
So, it's definitely felt like a risk, but I knew either way we were going to learn something from it. So, but it's like I said, I feel like daily there's stuff that I try that I know is not going to work, and I'm not going to be successful in, but I'm going to do it anyway, just in case it is something that helps me in the long run. So it's not a specific answer to your question, but I definitely believe in failing. And, whenever we have young kids, we have a lot of field trips come our direction, and, speaking with the youth, that is one thing I just encourage them and encourage my kids is, don't be afraid to try, because you don't get anywhere if you don't take that step.
One of my favorite quotes, Michelle, is that success and failure aren't opposites. They're part of the exact same process. And I think that for a lot of people who might be aspiring entrepreneurs, that fear of failure can really hold them back. And I think it's probably encouraging for them to hear somebody who actually, a part of our community, somebody who's actually done this and who's survived the pandemic, that failure isn't all that bad. Failure doesn't have to be the end of anything. It's just part of your success journey.
Yeah, it's true.
So let's flip the script now. The best part of your work, like if there's one thing you'd love to experience with Source Juicery every day, what is it?
For me personally?
Yeah, for you personally.
I just love the people, for sure. 100%. The customers, the staff, everything about it. Whenever we opened, I was shocked. And I think you probably find this at your CrossFit gym. I know anybody I come across CrossFit, I see this in them. There's just a positivity that comes with making healthy choices in your life. And there's an encouragement that you get from people and that you gather from people whenever you're in a group. And I didn't expect to find that in the food industry. I knew we'd be serving a healthy product, and I understood, but I didn't expect the community that would grow with that, and the connection that you get with people whenever they're making those healthy choices. So that is by far my favorite thing. And that's what I miss most about the pandemic is there's not as much connection. I don't know how your gym's working right now, but the connection is just different. Like when you see people and they're in masks, I always tell the staff, remember, people, they're not seeing people smile. That's a huge thing to walk into, especially, if your source and part of your identity is the happy, healthy, whole. Well, if you don't see those happy faces, it definitely changes things. So we miss that connection with customers, and I've always enjoyed that from the beginning and get a lot of energy from it. And same with the staff we have at our shop. We definitely have, amazing, energetic people that work at Source. So, every day I'm excited to go in and catch up with everybody there.
It sounds like what you're describing is the tribe, like the community of people that are drawn to this kind of healthy lifestyle thing. And this is one thing that Dallas has actually coached me on during our conversations, the concept of tribes from Seth Godin. Is it any really amazing sustainable business will ultimately be built around a community of people that have a shared belief in something. And it sounds like that's kind of what you guys have going on there. Although all the necessary adjustments that go with the pandemic, one of which being masks, it does make it way the hell harder to feel as connected to people. One of the reasons that I really, the mask thing is frustrating to me is that I can't read people's facial expressions as much when they're wearing a mask, right? So you miss a lot of the nonverbal cues you would otherwise get. Just the personal connection. It can be tougher. It's the challenge that we have now, but it is affecting all of us for sure. So I feel that. I definitely feel that. So what's the hardest part of the job for Michelle Motley? If you could make one problem go away forever, what would it be?
Oh man, I like a silly one would be refrigerators. I always say I don't want to own any more refrigerators, and then we get another refrigerator, and there's another refrigerator to take care of. The daily grind of it all definitely is the hardest part. It's owning a business to me is a lot like having your family. You just love it. You love every aspect of it. There's not, I enjoy it, but there are definitely parts of it that just can be hard. And in the food industry, definitely the responsibility and the weight of, just simple things like the upkeep of equipment, to the big things in a pandemic, you really take responsibility over people's health and safety in your environment. So the pandemic has been definitely draining in a different way. And I'm sure you feel it as a business owner too. It's a whole nother level of responsibility. And, we're in it now. We've been in it a year. So we're able to, you get your systems down and things get better. But we opened our for indoor dining. And of course, like all restaurants, I think we have maybe 20% out of what our seating was for before, but making that step to opening, letting people in the shop feels huge, and we just can't wait for things to keep taking that step. So hopefully, with the vaccine and everything, we're able to see more of that. But the daily grind is the hardest part.
For sure. You're preaching to the choir, Michelle. You're preaching to the choir.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm I don't know what to tell you, but.
Yeah. And I feel that weight, that responsibility also, on the day-to-day, having to make really hard judgment calls about a lot of things. that ultimately may affect like the safety of the people that exercise here. I feel like very, very personally responsible for keeping everybody safe. And what does that mean? What does that look like? Because a lot of the things that it takes to keep people safe are all the things that we freaking hate about the pandemic too, like the having to keep all this distance, wearing masks where it's harder to interact with each other. A big part of our experience here at CFE was that we finish a workout, we fist bump each other, or we high five each other. And that was one of the things that we had to put the brakes on the minute it happened. And it was, a difficult forced adaptation. But looking on the bright side of it all, I will say that I feel like it's helped me grow as a business owner as much as anything in the last 10 years. It's forced me to grow as a business owner, as a leader, as a problem solver, more than anything. So, silver lining to all of this is, I think, is helping us, probably the same for Michelle, actually get smarter and wiser with your craft. But
well, it's interesting. I think the word you picture, the growth, like one thing I notice on, my life journey that, keeps happening every day. And, there's something in life if you are able to put yourself in a situation and be around people that help you with that growth, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what, personal experience you're looking for. Growth is really what it's all about. So that is something that, if you're growing, you're doing what you should be doing. So, there are definitely moments in the pandemic where like you want to shut that down, right? Where you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm done growing. I'm done. I've done all of this. I've been changing, but then you take a deep breath and you realize, no, I'm still growing. It's still going to happen. But how positive growth is in life, I don't know about you guys, but it is definitely something that, I hope that we could have this conversation in a decade from now and talk about, personal growth and growth for our businesses. And I think that's just really an important thing.
Absolutely. And this is a topic that Dallas and I have talked about quite a bit as well. And Dallas, you were nodding along as we were talking there too. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Oh, well, I mean, just in general, you're either doing one of two things. You're either expanding or you're contracting. You're either growing or you're dying. I mean, there is no stationary in life. And so we only have one of two choices every day. Am I going to progress today or am I going to regress today? And I think that's an important part. And one of the most amazing things, I'm forgetting the name of the gentleman who wrote the book right now, but there's a tremendous book called Adversity Quotient. It's all about AQ, and it's actually the main determiner of success. This doctor found was a lot of us think that IQ, intelligent quotient, is the way to be successful, and that's one factor. Then there's the EQ, which is the emotional quotient, which has a lot to do with the leadership we learn and things like that. But the biggest determiner that this psychologist found, and it was in 1997 or 98, he wrote this book, but he called it AQ, the adversity quotient. And it's really about what you adapt and overcome and how you meet things like this pandemic. And you can either regress or you can say, no, this is actually an opportunity for expansion, growth, learning, education, all of that. So I think that's an important part of it for sure, which actually, I'd like to ask Michelle here. So Michelle, for you, a question that I would have is, yes, the pandemic has been an opportunity for growth and expansion for you, but in the last 5 years, what would be the belief or the behavior or the habit that you've had that you feel has most kind of improved your life?
I'll speak to the belief because, it's just what first comes to my mind when you ask that question. And it is who I surround myself by. If I'm surrounding myself with people that support me and believe in me and are willing to be a part of my journey, then I feel like no matter what happens, whether that failure outweighs the success, whether it's, I feel like that is key for me. And, I think that can go along with habits too. Like you can get in a habit and a rut and surrounding yourself with negativity and having that negative voice that can go along, especially during hard times. I don't know about you guys, but when things get challenging, that's when you tend to be like, oh, I'm bad at this. I can't do this. I am like that. The negative talk can start to go on. So, just that positive, positive attitude and keeping myself around, who you're around definitely affects who you are. I think that's the case for everybody. And some of us are probably more sensitive to it than others.
Sure.
So I definitely believe that you surround yourself by people that you admire and people that you see qualities that you, think are what you aspire to be.
Sure. For me, you're absolutely right. It's very easy to get shaken from your confidence place during this, pandemic where there's so many challenges, so much uncertainty. I know that for me, my faith has been a big part of what's allowed me to calmly navigate these waters, because if I really believe that the Lord is making all things come together for my good, then everything that's happening right now is in my own best interests, and it's going to ultimately play out how it's supposed to. And I'm really trying to keep that perspective, on the easy days and the tough days. And I love what you said about, surrounding yourself with good people. Both Dallas and I have mentors. And I'll let Dallas throw this next question to you, because for us, it's something that we believe in very strongly. The people that we surround ourselves with. Dallas, go ahead and take it from here, my dude.
Well, sure. And I'll just say one other thing too about that, Michelle, you started to kind of say there, as far as who we surround ourselves with. There are various aspects of my life that, like G is a mentor to me when it comes to the exercise and the nutrition. He's the guy I go to, but then I have a financial mentor. I have a business mentor. I have coaches that I work with for the mindset stuff. So I think it's important to know the areas we need to work on, and that we're open and honest about them, and say, I'm not gonna ask the guy who's 400 pounds to help me get my fitness on par. That's not who I'm going to go to for that. He may be a millionaire and he may be divorced 5 times. I'm not going to ask him about marriage either. Hey, what's the best marriage to have? So I definitely think it's important to know that our mentors excel in those strengths. And kind of with that, did want to ask you about who your mentors are, who've been kind of the most influential people, whether you work with them one-on-one or it's authors or success gurus, but really who's been those most kind of influential people on your personal and or business success, and what might be 1 or 2 things you've learned from them?
Well, definitely. Well, for personal and business, I'll speak to my husband. It feels to me like he has both of those areas under control, and it is good for me to go to. So he's definitely my go-to compass for both of those things. As far as business and the business journey goes, when I knew I wanted to go in the food industry, went and spoke with as many people as I could in the industry to try to gather advice. I definitely maybe can speak to what Greg was saying. I gather my my inner core and my faith and beliefs definitely drive a lot of what I do and how I learn. But as far as if I had one specific mentor, I would just have to say my husband. But I do my group is wide and it's vast, and like you mentioned before, on having different people for different things. I definitely have that person that I go to complain. I have that person that I go to whenever I need them, to keep me in check. So I don't have any specific mentor that I've gone to for my business, though. I definitely try to gather as much information and then listen to my core and my instincts on where to go with it.
Well, and I just need to say, if your husband is either watching or listening to this, props. But, I mean,
way to go, Mark.
She's going for building the cred, man.
I mean, I didn't even know that's what would come out, but it is true. It's definitely Mark. So
that's awesome. Good job, Mark.
This is a podcast tip that I've learned, by the way, is in a podcast, like, name drop as many friends and family members as possible, because it gives, you can tell them, hey, I talked about you in this podcast, and it gives them a reason.
That's true.
Not only does it give them a reason to listen or watch, it gives them a reason to share it as well.
Yep. Now, I want to ask, because you mentioned that Mark he'd been in business. I don't know that side of Mark. I was his fitness coach for a while. He did some CrossFit with us. What business does Mark lead now? Because I don't know about that part of his life.
Well, he actually works for a law firm, so he helps manage a law firm.
I gotcha. Okay.
Which I don't feel like that gives him like the experience and everything that I feel like he has, but he is very well read. Like the books that you guys would reference, like he would be in those conversations and know those. He's very well read and very interested in business and has that good instincts and guts when it comes to it. So.
Love it. By the way, the AQ, adversity quotient, Paul Stoltz.
Thank you.
Paul Stoltz.
My mind was stuck on Daniel Pink, but I'm like, no, that's Drive. That's the fella's human. I couldn't get Paul Stoltz in my head.
Got it. Now, so on the topic of books, Michelle, are there what books, if any, have been particularly influential for you in your journey, personally, business wise?
Well, the book reading was like since I've started the business, I'm going to be honest, there's not a lot of reading. There's not a lot of TV shows. There's not a lot, I don't have that recreational side. But one podcast that I listen to and really go to whenever I need to get my business creative juices going is the How I Built This podcast. I'm sure you guys have listened to. Yep. And just hearing, business owners, successful business people, how they started their business and how they pivot and how they go. That is definitely something that I return to even now after starting the business. But I'm going to be honest with you, like starting Source and, just being still a mom of 4 kids, like it definitely doesn't leave a lot of time. So I'm able to, get done what I need to get done in both areas. So.
Oh, absolutely understand for sure. And I think I've never actually listened to the How I Built This podcast, but I think that there are a couple of people that I listen to in podcasts that specifically cited that podcast as like top 3 for them. Dallas, have you heard that one before?
I've listened to a few episodes, but it would have been about a year ago.
Well, it's definitely so interesting how to take, even in the fitness industry, they definitely interview a lot of, just successful, people who have started and, they address all things. It's definitely it's a good one. I highly recommend it, especially whenever you're looking for that. I don't know if you go through waves of being a business owner where, there's more challenging days than others, but whenever it's challenging, feel like it.
we never
no,
go through
easy.
that.
Only easy here. Sorry. It definitely gives you that, drive to keep going. And there's one thing that I've noticed, and you guys have interviewed business owners and have had that discussion. There's a common links in entrepreneurs and people who are running their businesses that you start to see. And whenever you can recognize, I'll listen to, the person who started Lar Bar, the major bar company that is all health food driven. When I listen to her speak and I recognize something in her that I have, I'm like, okay, I do have just a little bit of what, it's like, reassuring to know that the qualities that these are just people that are running these super successful businesses and grown them big. We actually last year in 2020, we were planning on franchising. So we got franchising documents done. We had spoken with a couple people who were interested in doing it. Of course, with the pandemic, we shut it down. We were not going to keep moving forward with that. But just that growth and kind of desire that we have to do for our business, that podcast is really educational on going back on how some of those places, like, the owner of Five Guys talks about his family's journey and starting the restaurant. It's real interesting and cool to listen to. I highly recommend it.
Rock and roll. Yeah. So if Michelle Motley could have a billboard anywhere, and metaphorically speaking, getting a message out to millions or billions of people, what would it say and why? This could be a few words, could be a paragraph. If it helps you, it could be somebody's quote. Any quotes you think of often or that you live your life by?
Okay.
It's an easy question, right?
Right.
We spent the whole podcast building up to this one question.
Right. Gosh, I know I'm going to give a disappointing answer, but I would make my billboard say, it would definitely have something to do with healthy and happiness. I do think that the two are, tightly related, and, a healthy lifestyle in all aspects. You mentioned financial health. You mentioned relationship health. We've mentioned physical health. Diet, of course, plays an element of that too. I think that those are all important things. So I'd have to ask Mark to write up whatever that would say so I could put it on a billboard. And he would spend a couple minutes and have the quote ready for me. So
I think you could probably run with the healthy, happy, whole. Like if you had the word healthy, arrow pointing to happy, pointing to whole, it almost suggests that this could be an algorithm to living your happiest and best life. Start with health as a foundation and then build from there.
I like it. See, so you've got it. And I agree with all of those things. Like I do live my life by those things. I think that there is focusing on keeping yourself healthy is worthwhile.
Yep, for sure. So what's an unusual habit or an absurd thing that Michelle Motley loves?
Ooh. An unusual habit. I don't know. I mean, I definitely, if a bald baby comes into the shop, that is really exciting and unusual. All the staff tells me there's a bald baby here, and I go out and say hi too.
Like a bald baby?
A bald baby, yeah.
Okay.
So that's something that's random that kids and babies definitely really are super fun for me.
I should hope so. Yeah,
I'm a pretty basic and boring person, really, when it comes down to it. So I could have told you guys that at the beginning of the podcast, but then, I don't know if anybody would have listened to the rest of it.
I'm having fun with the conversation. So what are you most proud of in your business, Michelle?
What am I most proud of in my business? Oh, I'm just so proud of my business. Everything that we've done, everything that we've accomplished together. I'm just proud of all of it. Chrissy and I really have a great relationship and really enjoy working with each other. And, partnerships, I know just historically aren't necessarily the easiest things to navigate. So I'm really proud of the partnership that I have with her. and the staff that we have there, I feel like I can say I'm proud of it, but I feel like I stumbled into it, and I love the people that we have that work at the shop. And I'm just proud. Like, I know statistically, when you start a business, you don't know if you'll be there 5 years from now, because, you read the stats and you go into it with, knowing what you're getting into. And I'm proud to still be here 5 years later, and proud to be a part of the Edwardsville community. I respect all the business owners that we have in our town, and I'm grateful to have a community that supports us.
Sure. So many moons ago in undergrad, I took a class on entrepreneurship, and I only remember one thing from that class. And something that really stood out to me, because at the time I was like, that can't be it. That can't be it. There's no way that this is the key takeaway. But in this class on entrepreneurship, they had a guest speaker that came in. He said, if I can give you one piece of business advice, and this is the only thing you do, anybody you go into business with has to share the same values that you have. He said, if you don't have that, it doesn't matter what else you do. Everything else will fail if you are partnering with somebody that does not share your values. And at the time, it didn't resonate with me. I didn't get it. Now, 10 years, almost 11 into the CrossFit history, now I get it, because I'm very fortunate that, my partner, Caroline, that she and I share the same values, and that's allowed us to get through so many seasons, so many challenges, so many storms, because we weren't being pulled in opposite directions by one person more interested in cash flow, one person more interested in serving people, whatever. Like, our hearts were in the same place. I think it's awesome to hear that for you and you and Chrissy, your business will either like bring you closer together and enrich your relationship, or it will tear you apart. And there really is no middle ground. There is no middle ground with all of that.
Yeah, no, that matching in values and just a respect and understanding. I think respect is also a word that I feel like with partnerships, like, you just have to have. And, that's one thing I feel like with Chrissy from the beginning. I just have so much respect for her, and who she is as a person and as a mom, and also as a business owner. So, yeah. But
what are you most proud of? Sorry, go ahead.
I just, speaking to the partnership, I think that it's definitely something that you hear a lot of businesses struggling with. And like, I get a lot of people who are like, so how is, kind of leading questions. I'm like, no, like, it's amazing. Like, if you find the right partner, a partnership is amazing.
Love it. Dallas, yeah, I see you nodding along. You have a thought on that as well?
No, I don't. I'm just I'm laughing because I've been in those partnerships where I go, we are at opposite ends, and they have not ended well. So this definitely good to hear that, and I was also smiling, Michelle, because I thought that Chrissy got pretty much almost the same kind of mention that Mark got earlier.
Right.
I was like, man, it's good to know the partner is as good as the husband on that.
All right, so Michelle, what are you most proud of in life outside of business? Like, you take all the business away, Source isn't there anymore. What are you most proud of in life now?
Well, with Source and without Source, it's definitely my kids and my family, for sure. They were, like I said, I was a stay-at-home mom for 17 years, and my kids are all getting older, and I've watched them grow into the people that they're becoming, and I'm just proud of who they are, and proud of everything about them.
Right on. Now, where can people find out more about you or about Source Juicery?
Well, you could check out, if you're looking for info about Source Juicery, sourcejuicery.com. And also the shop there on Main Street. And we're across from the courthouse, so pretty easy to find. There's a parking lot right next to our shop. And you'll find me there a lot of days. So it's a good way to find out more about me is bumping into me. I love to chat, love running across new people who come to the shop. So
cool. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. Just my trading partner maybe promised to bring this up with you, Michelle. Macros on the labels. So all of us here as nutrition geeks. So my trading partner maybe promised to say, "Hey, Michelle, we'd love to have had the protein, fat, and carb counts on the label." Apparently, it's not. I never noticed it.
No, it's not, and it's quite expensive to do. However, we, definitely have earmarked, some of that nice PPP loan that has come through for some of us small businesses. Right. I've got an earmark there that is like, we need to get that nutritional information done. And we appreciate the mentions from all customers and people on what they're looking for because, we definitely want to have what you guys want also. So that should be something I would expect it here by midsummer. So I'm thinking, well, I guess June's probably early summer. So it definitely is on the agenda of things to do during COVID while things are shut down a little bit. So yeah, that is important. I know it's important to a lot of people. And, again, like that layer of trust that you want to have with your customers. It was something I don't want to release until we have a dietitian do it, which is why it hasn't been released yet. We have loosely done our counts, but a dietitian will be reviewing all of that, and we'll get it posted up on our website. We'll put it on social media.
Yeah.
We'll have it available in the shop.
Love it. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes.
Dallas, any closing thoughts from you, Dallas?
No, Michelle, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I can't wait for my first order, especially now that I see how it works on the website. It's my first online order, I should say, because obviously I've had you guys before, but great connecting with you. So thank you for today.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys.
On behalf of all of us at CrossFit Edwardsville, Michelle, thanks so much for taking time out of your insanely busy schedule to hang out with us and talk to us. Had a great time getting to know you and your business better. And you're always welcome to come back on our podcast anytime.
Oh, thanks so much, you guys.
All right. We're going to peace out, roll tape. Talk to you guys again soon.